So you're trying to be smart with your money, right? You're budgeting, cutting back, maybe even trying to invest a little. But what if I told you there's a tiny daily leak that's quietly draining your bank account? It's more than just loose change. It's a system, and it's designed to bleed you dry, 2,000 rupiah at a time. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to put this little financial parasite under the microscope. Then we'll do the math and uncover the staggering hidden cost to your wallet. After that, we'll see how this whole thing secretly funds a massive shadow economy. And stick around, because at the end, we're going to arm you with a smart toolkit to actually fight back. Let's just get right to the heart of it. We're not just talking about a small, everyday payment. The source material for this analysis argues this is about a flawed mindset, a mentality that's actively eating away at your personal wealth and, believe it or not, the health of the entire economy. Does this feel familiar? You're tracking every single expense, you're sticking to your budget, but at the end of the month, the numbers just don't add up. It feels like there's this invisible drain on your finances that you just can't seem to find. Well, here's the culprit. A single coin. It looks so small, so insignificant, that our brains are basically hardwired to just dismiss it. We see it as nothing, not even worth the mental energy to ask, wait, why am I paying this? And that, right there, is the trap. This isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of a huge systemic problem that we've all been conditioned to accept as totally normal. It's a small act of financial surrender we make every day, and it has enormous consequences. Now, here's the key insight from our source. This isn't really a financial problem. It's a psychological one. The argument is that every single time you hand over that money, you're reinforcing what's called a loser mentality. You're subconsciously telling yourself that it's okay for your money to be taken from you. So let's break down the true cost, not just to your wallet, but to your mindset. We're going to count down the 5 brutal reasons this tiny little act is actually so destructive, and we're starting right now with number 5. You know, the biggest trick our minds play on us is underestimating the power of small numbers. 2,000 rupiah feels like nothing. It's like financial dust. We just brush it off without feeling any pain at all. But let's do the cold, hard math for a second. Let's say on a totally normal day, you make just 3 quick stops, maybe to an ATM, a convenience store, and to grab a quick lunch. That's a very conservative 6,000 rupiah gone. Now, let's see how that snowballs. That 6,000 a day becomes 180,000 rupiah a month. Whoa. Suddenly, that's not just loose change anymore, is it? That's a real line item you could have in your budget. And here it is, the number that should really wake you up. Annually, that tiny little leak drains over 2.1 million rupiah from your pocket. Money that just vanishes, untracked, unaccounted for, gone. And this is where the real cost hits you. That money you just let disappear every year is enough to pay for a full year of top-tier public health insurance. Think about that. Instead of protecting your health or your family, that money is funding someone else's untaxed lifestyle. Okay, so why do we keep doing it? I mean, the math is brutal. This brings us to reason number 4. We are being psychologically manipulated into feeling guilty for protecting our own money, a tactic the source brilliantly calls financial gaslighting. So what does that actually mean? It's when someone twists social norms, like being generous or kind, to make you question your own common sense. They turn a simple act of extortion into a test of your character. Also, they can profit. Have you ever heard that little voice in your head, or maybe from someone else? That's the gaslighting in action. It's designed to reframe your financial intelligence as just being cheap. So you're not paying for a service, you're paying a bribe to avoid being judged. Every time you give in, you train your brain to accept losing. Okay, so we've talked about the personal cost, but this problem is so much bigger than just your wallet. This small, daily transaction is one of the main ways a massive, untraceable system gets its funding, a system that hurts the entire country. Let's move on to reason number 3, and this is where it gets really infuriating. When you pay an illegal attendant on a public street, you are essentially being taxed twice for something you already own. Just think about how absurd this is. Step 1, your tax money builds and maintains the road. Step 2, that means the road is a public asset. You are a part owner. Step 3, some guy with a whistle just shows up and claims that public property as his own little business. And step 4, he then forces you, the owner, to pay him for access. It makes absolutely no sense. And that leads us directly to reason number 2.
This is a system that systematically transfers wealth from productive, hardworking people to unproductive ones. It's a system that celebrates extortion over effort and completely warps our society's idea of what work is.
And look at this comparison. This is where the logic of the system just completely falls apart. A mini-market cashier needs a diploma, works a full 8-hour shift serving people, and pays taxes on a minimum wage salary. Meanwhile, an illegal attendant right outside can potentially make double that, completely untaxed, with zero skills or accountability. Every coin you give them just proves this broken system works.
And now we get to the number one most dangerous consequence of this entire charade. That 2,000 rupiah doesn't just stop with the person you hand it to. Oh no. It flows upwards, funding a much larger, untraceable, and often criminal, shadowy economy. Our source calls this ghost money, and it's the perfect name for it. The second it leaves your hand, it vanishes from the legitimate economy. It can't be taxed, it can't be traced. In a lot of places, these aren't just random individuals. They're controlled territories, with the money flowing up a chain of command to organized syndicates and even corrupt officials.
Okay, we have laid out the problem. It's frustrating, and it feels massive, but you are not powerless here. The source provides a clear, actionable toolkit that you can use to break this cycle and reclaim control of both your money and your dignity. Here is your 5-point plan to fight back, starting today. First, in your budgeting app, don't track these payments as transport. Track them as theft or loss. The psychological sting will force you to change. Second, master a neutral poker face. Don't argue, just say, no small change, and walk away. Third, always demand an official ticket. Their motto might be no pay, no service, but yours is no ticket, no pay. Fourth, vote with your wallet. Stop shopping at businesses that allow this to happen on their property. And finally, number 5, practice cashless radicalism. They can't demand cash that you simply don't have. And this all brings us to the powerful final thought from our source. This was never about being stingy. This is a fundamental test of your financial discipline. It leaves us with this one question. If you don't have the courage to defend your own 2,000 rupiah from being blatantly taken, how can you ever expect to build and manage real wealth? True financial freedom, it turns out, begins right here, with this one small, powerful act of defiance.